Right, Junseth.
All right, so let me give some background.
You went viral.
I did go viral, and really it was the easiest virality job I've ever done.
Bro, can I just fucking say, I saw it going around and I was like, what is this? I'll check it out later. But so many people shared it. I was like, okay, I've got to listen to this. What is it? And when I was listening to this, I was like, this can't be real.
Oh, it's real.
Yeah, I know. And when you first start listening to it, and I know I'm not the only one, I thought, hold on, this can't be real. But then I realized by your questioning that this is really real. And it was fortunate that you got someone who was willing just to so openly talk about it.
Yeah.
What I couldn't tell is what the bits I believed him on and what the bits I didn't believe him on. Because they're kind of like, if you started to run the math of some of the things he was saying, it didn't all add up.
So let me tell you some, and I think for the benefit of your audience before listening.
Yeah.
Some of the bits have been confirmed, right? So, for example, he claims that they have a $1.2 million Bitcoin transaction at Swan that they're waiting for. That's been confirmed by Swan. So Swan saw that. So we know that there are some things that he said in here that are true. There are things in here that I think 100% of the things he says are true in a sense. So, for example, he says that he just bought a McLaren. I don't think he did. I think he may live with his parents. He may not. He may live on his own at college. I don't know. But I think he aspires to have a McLaren and is doing the thing where he's speaking it into the universe. And he believes that he'll very soon have a McLaren, as if he and I met. I wouldn't be able to be like, I thought you had a McLaren. No, but like if we met, he'd be able to be like, this is the McLaren I purchased with my ill-gotten gains.
Actually, can we go back a step further?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for anyone who's listening who hasn't heard the audio, because it got pulled.
We should probably explain what it is.
Yeah. Explain what happened that led you to be recording this.
Yeah. I got a call from, we all get these calls in Bitcoin, but you know, if you're old, you also get them. A lot of people, you get scam calls if you're young. You know, the famous one is the, hi, I'm calling about your vehicle's lease insurance or whatever the hell it is, right? We've all gotten that one. It's a joke. And so I've been getting these calls in Bitcoin. And they've been going on for maybe a year and a half, maybe as many as 2 years. And I always answer. And I came up with this about 2 years ago. I was going to try, whenever they started, I was going to try to answer them and see if I could get one or two of these people to answer some questions. And they call me so often, I figured I'd get the opportunity. And so I just started kind of like working on different things to say to them to keep them on the phone. So you hear a bunch of that at the very beginning where I insult him and a few other things. And the reason this was interesting to me is because the calls that I was getting they all sounded like Americans. So for a while, a lot of the scams, you get a call, it'd be, hello, I am Eric from New York. And you'd be like, oh yeah, Eric from New York. How are you? How's the temperature up there? Very warm here in New York. And you're like, it's winter. Oh yeah, very cold, you know. So like, you'd end up with this, you have these non-Americans calling you, and these ones, every single one of them, they were all American. And it was a very particular call. You'd get a call, they would say, you'd be like a radio or a robot saying like, a recording, I'm, this is Google, and your password attempt is being changed. If this is not you, please press 1. You press 1, and then so it would say, someone will be in touch, in whatever time. And then within a few hours, you get a call.
So that's a robocall to just filter out.
Well, they're qualifying you. And they say it on here. They'll explain anyone who hits 1 is an idiot. Yeah. And that's not really true. I don't think that's quite fair because, there's a lot of, everyone's afraid of being hacked. There's a lot of ways that I think, and we can talk about this in terms of security, and we should actually talk about how you can kind of protect yourself from this. But everyone's very afraid of being hacked. And unless you understand the underlying security in all of your accounts, you're going to have trouble not knowing whether these claims by a robocall are real. Did my Microsoft account really get hacked? Did my Coinbase account really get hacked? Did my Google account really get hacked? The answer is it may have, right? And that's why it's so scary. So you don't have to be an idiot, I think, to hit 1. You might actually genuinely be concerned that you were hacked because so many people do end up getting hacked. So I think we'll talk a little bit about security later. The guy on the call gives us some great advice to Bitcoiners, and we'll go through that as he's like explaining how to avoid getting. But really, it's very difficult, particularly if you're a nervous person, don't understand how security works, don't understand how Bitcoin works, for you to avoid being trapped in these at some point. So I think that there's just a lot, like, this is why I think in investment people say you should not invest in things you don't understand. In Bitcoin, it's especially true in instances like this, because if you don't understand how Bitcoin works, it's really easy to tell you that I'm about to take your Bitcoin and you may believe it.
Okay, so you posted this where?
I just put this on my old podcast, Eric Junseth's World. And
but it got pulled.
Yeah, it got pulled. SoundCloud pulled it down because somebody, we don't know who, claimed that it was a copyright strike against some rapper that no one's ever heard of.
But was there any rap music in it?
I don't know. It was just me and the guy talking. And this is a critique of the current regime when it comes to things like copyright striking. YouTube, SoundCloud, all these companies are very afraid of copyright. It's interesting because copyright infringement really is an act that you're claiming against the publisher, which would be, me. But for some reason, these companies have taken a very hard line against it. So if you even claim that there's copyrighted material in it, they just take it down. And then they leave it to you to prove that you're innocent, which is a very frustrating thing. And not only that, as part of, in SoundCloud's instance, part of declaring your innocence is you have to give them like your home address and everything else. And it says right on there, this will be provided to the person making the copyright claim.
Listen, I probably have a copyright claim against this. Let's not say who we think it is. Let's not give them any attention. Let's just go with it. Where do you want to start?
Oh, from the beginning. Let's go to the beginning.
So I'm going to play this.
Providing that email address as well as that common password. If you had an attempt to push the number on the account, but since the location was unusual, we're going to place that on an automatic hold.
Well, thank you, David.
Okay. What we're going to go ahead and do today is we set you up with a temporary password for the next 48 hours. We'll specialists fully go over everything. And that's going to be sent to the number ending in 4155. Do you currently have access to that number?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So just let me know once you do receive that.
Okay. Well, I got it.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. It's going to be active here the next 1 to 2 minutes. What I'm going to go ahead and do as well is update the API key on the account just to ensure even more safety.
Good, thank you.
And while I do that, may I ask, how's your day today?
Very well, you?
It's going good. It's a nice day. All right, let me go ahead and process this here for you. So for 48 hours, you're going to go ahead and use the password that was sent to you. And after those 48 hours are up, you'll also receive an email kind of going over the attempt as well as informing you that you are able to change your password.
Oh, okay.
And this is going to be sent over to junseth@gmail.com.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So if you could, go ahead and navigate over to your phone, and you should receive the notification for account security. Did you get that?
I did.
You did it?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. Go ahead and tap on that, and it should say account recovery, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. You're going to want to do yes and 53. And just let me know once that's done.
Oh. I have one quick question, Caleb.
So I know what question's coming next. We'll do that in a second. So do you want to explain the nature of the hack, what he does? Like, part of it is clearly sounding official, making sure you feel reassured, and the password sent to your phone, yada yada. But how does the attack work?
So a lot of what they're doing is using Google's infrastructure to get to you. So like if you go to Google and you type in forgot password, it'll just let you kind of attempt to change your password, right? So they're just going in there, they're doing that, and then they're basically getting you to confirm to Google that you asked for a password change, right? And then they'll change it for you to whatever they want. and
then they'll text it to you.
Yeah. Or something like that. But they're doing very, very, very simple sort of means of accessing your Google account. You're giving it to them. You're basically opening the door and walking them through it. You're holding their hand, and they're just stepping you through it, making you think it's a trust game. It's sort of an affinity scam, but affinity scams usually are longer and more complicated. This is just like, he's your friend. You know you can trust him because he's from Google, and you know he's from Google mainly because he's very nice. So if you catch what he says to me, he says, "How's your day going?" You know, it's this delay tactic. You know, if like you're on the phone with somebody, it's clear this person has gone through customer service training. And where else would he receive customer service training but from a legitimate company like Google? And what I've noticed too in trying to get people to stay on, so the reason that I go through the beginning of the scam is because I want them to be invested. This is something I noticed when I was doing this, is if I didn't get them to invest and feel like they'd already wasted time on me, I was never able to get them to stay on the phone. So the first thing I do is I go as far down the scam as I can until like they realize something's wrong. And if I stop sending them stuff, they're going to know right away that maybe I'm not worth it. Maybe I'm stupid. You know, maybe I don't have enough to jump on, or maybe I don't have enough to actually like do the stuff that I need to do in order to get this going. And so, like,
how many times did you try to record one of these and get them to talk?
Dozens.
Oh, that's a
And
commitment.
and I've gotten them some of the way. Usually, I get them to bragging about how much money they make. And then usually I can't get them to tell me like that they're in America. And then from that, like then it kind of just goes, it derails. But this one didn't derail. But yeah, dozens. And this I try to record every time, but often they'll call and I'm not at a computer or something like that. So that can be frustrating. This one, he called, I was at a computer, but I didn't have recording software. So I Googled very quickly, record online or something like that, and found like a software that I just hit record on. And it worked. I couldn't believe it. So I hit record and it just started recording.
And I'm going to jump around a bit, but is there any part of this that you're reporting him to authorities? Are you sending the recording? Is there anything they can do with that?
I have no idea.
You're not bothering with that.
I mean, it seems like when something like this happens, I had probably half a dozen people reach out and tell me that they had FBI contacts, and to varying degrees. I mean, like I said, I was willing to do it as long as like, you know, it's sent through a lawyer.
Okay. So is the scam, they convince you, they do a forgotten password, they phone you up and say someone's tried to attack into your account. You check your email and say, oh, there is a forgotten password. They text you a new password and you type that into the change password page, and then they have your password.
They may actually have, I mean, there's a few you'll see in this. They say one of the things they do is they spoof a page for Trezor, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like I remember back, if you recall, back when Tony Gallipi's company BitPay was hacked. This was a very simple social engineering hack that happened with Tony, and the reason I know this is because we were caught up in it too, right? So the way that one worked was they would send you an email from like one of these people, and they would say, here's a link to the Google Drive that we're working on. You go there and be surprised, like, oh, weird. Usually I'm logged in, but I'm not logged in. So you just like go in there and you log in with your Google credentials, and then it wouldn't log you in. It would just send you the Google Drive. And if you were already logged into Google, it would just look like you logged in, right? But now you've sent because you were on jo0gl.com or something like that. Now you've given someone else your password and your username, and they can log right into your Google. So my guess is what they do is they probably send you a link and do that exact same thing. And you type in your link, and it probably then sends you to Google, and it's like, oh, link didn't work, but now they have your password info.
Okay, and with that, they're then going to take over your email account, and they're going to what?
They just start searching. It sounds like some people said that they've had this happen and they see them running a script. I don't know exactly how they would see them running a script, but my guess is they probably have a script that searches for the seed word template and sees if there's anything in your email that has seed words, or if there's anything in your email that like has logins to Coinbase or whatever. And then they're going to start resetting passwords at Coinbase, at Kraken, at any other of the exchanges that you have. And they'll just start logging in. And if you have bank credentials at Coinbase, that one thing they could do is they could buy Bitcoin with your money and then export it out. Or if you don't have bank credentials, if you have coins sitting there in Coinbase, they're just going to export those out right away, right? And they're going to do all the confirmations for you.
But they need to find accounts that don't have 2FA, right?
Probably, but it depends on how stupid people are. Like you could do the same hack with people and do it with 2FA, right?
How do you do it with 2FA? You convince them to give you the 2FA number over the phone?
Sure. Just say that you're from Coinbase and you're whatever. It depends on the sophistication of the person. Yeah. So like it depends. And if you're a scammer, you're going to go down these roads. I can conceive of how these scams work more than I can. Like I haven't walked all the way down the path. If I had like a fake Coinbase account that would allow Coinbase to, I don't know, grab IPs and stuff like that, or would allow us to see that stuff, that would be really interesting. I think Coinbase should have that, where they have like fake Bitcoin in there, get people to go in, see exactly what they do, and just allow a person to like fuck with scammers. But they don't. So like that would be really interesting. But yeah, like I think that a lot of this stuff is very is very simple, and it really depends on the sophistication of the person that is dealing with it.
Yeah, and look, there's going to be a lot of unsophisticated people. Like even today, right? So my son is sophisticated. You know, he's grown up with technology. He understands technology. Today we were trying to get into his. He needed to check an email for something. I set him up with Dashlane, but Dashlane has its own password, and he'd forgotten his Dashlane password, and therefore he couldn't get into his email, and he couldn't do his forgotten password from Dashlane because he couldn't get into his email. And so he hadn't figured out the loop to prevent that happening. So even my son, who's fairly sophisticated, I had to actually show him how to go. So I basically had to reset his password from Google G Suite and then actually help him log back into those accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I know my father's sophistication. I know my sister's. I can see scenarios where, you know, we may, like, some people may mock people for getting done, but like we live in this world all day, every day. We know what's going on.
I got an email from a friend in the space who's phenomenally wealthy, phenomenally, like more money than you could dream of in most lives ever obtaining. And it's from not Bitcoin, right? This is a person that was wealthy when they came. And this person told me that their mother had her coin stolen, right? Which, you know, their mother is not as wealthy as they are, but you know, had a few coins to her name and had gotten caught up in one of these scams because, you know, their mother's not going to know how security works on computers and such. You know, she's an older lady. So it's not just about you. It's about the fact that like these older people often get targeted. They don't know what's going on. They've heard about hacks. If you've owned a company, you know how it works. Like you get calls from people who've had their credit cards compromised, and if they're 87, they're like, "You're the one company that I spent, you know, money on," and blah blah blah. They're like, "Yeah, but everything that we do is in Stripe, and Stripe hasn't like told us that there's a hack, and even if there is, you can get your money back. It's you know, no one here has stolen your credit card. We don't even know the number. We use a token. We don't store it anywhere, you know, something like that." But these people don't, like, they're older. They don't know how it works. They only know that like credit card theft is a thing. They know that hacks are a thing. And so they're susceptible to these types of scams. And it's very difficult to explain to an older person who really doesn't know how this works and has kind of been introduced into this world where before they were using phones, rotary phones, and phones on their, you know, on their wall, that this is, you know, how to secure themselves and why they are secure in those in if they do things like have a very long password or, you know, whatever. So it's very difficult. It's very hard.
Yeah. So interesting. I've had lots of the emails pop up in my inbox, like someone's tried to attempt to reset your Facebook password. Someone's all these different things, Instagram, Google. I've never had, the only scam call I've ever had was a bank one. It was a Revolut one, and I nearly got caught. It was really interesting. It was nearly got caught with it. I was actually out near you. I was out in Miami when it happened, and it just clicked at one point. I was like, "Oh, hold on a second." Because they did a lot of things that sent me to the Revolut website to make me think they were real. Because I think I was less probably skeptical because it was my bank rather than trying to get into my crypto. Turned out it was a, you know, I got just a bit suspicious.
Yeah, scammers, McCormick banks with Revolut.
Yeah, I've said that publicly anyway because they're the only ones who let you buy Bitcoin.
But that sounds like you were targeted.
No,
either that or it was random chance that you just got a Revolut call.
It was a Revolut scam.
Oh, I see.
So I went online and found out it was a Revolut scam. But we don't have the phone issue that you have, where the SIM swap issue. Like, I don't know anyone who's been SIM swapped in the UK. It might have happened, but I don't know of it.
Well, okay, so I got caught in one, and it was I got a call once from a guy who said that they had my sister in the back of a van.
Jesus.
And they had like a recording of a woman struggling. You know, they had some details that they happened to, I mean, they were just going down the path and like saying things like we talked to her boyfriend and he's not going to pay to get her out. And I was like, she does have a boyfriend, and I don't know what he said. And so I had someone next to me, and I was like, I put them on mute, and I was like, just call these numbers. I was having them call numbers, and my sister was an Air Force cadet and was at the Air Force Academy, and I didn't know I did this, but I shut down the Air Force Academy for like an hour and a half as they shut everything down to make sure that they could find her as this call was going on. And I remember as soon as we got word that she was like not in California, but was in Colorado safe on base, I just hung up. But I didn't know, because there's a lot of things, like if they get the details right, if you happen to be the right person that they're calling for these specific details, like you happen to have a Revolut bank account and it's a Revolut scam. They might have called 500 people before you, all banking with some other company, Wells Fargo or some weird fake money bank in the UK, whatever the case is. But like if you happen to have that bank, then like you might be the perfect person for it, because they might have the 15 details that hit you. And by the way, that's what's genius about this scam in particular, is they're qualifying people. So you're hitting 1, which means that you have a Google account. It means that you are probably afraid that something's going on. You're unsophisticated because you don't know you can just go on Google and change your password. You don't know that you can actually go look at logs in Google. It tells you every time someone's tried to access the account. You can go look at the bottom. There's a little like list of like locations that people have accessed. So like you don't know these things. So you hit 1. So now you're on the path. They know that they've got a person who's got at least like 5% or 15 or 20, maybe 80% of the details that they're going to start telling them are going to be convincing to that person. It's a really sophisticated way to do this. It's very, very rare, in my opinion, that scammers have figured out how to qualify people.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, should we jump back into this? I know the question that's coming next.
Do it.
All right.
Yep. Oh, my name's Daniel.
Daniel, I'm sorry. What's your last name?
Fowler.
Daniel. Does your mother know that you scam people for a living?
I don't know.
Calling them, trying to change their passwords. You don't work for Google. Google doesn't have my info.
If you'd like, I can go ahead and shoot you over an email kind of confirming.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Send me an email, Daniel, please.
Sure. It'll be directly from a Google domain as well. So
wow. You're going to spoof it, huh?
There's no way to spoof at google.com.
You can't spoof a header?
Due to Google owning it.
Daniel, you're an evil person. Your mom is disappointed. You made $100,000, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
From old people or from whom?
No, he was like 40.
One guy who was 40. Are you a fag?
I'm not a fag.
No.
Actually, I just got my dick sucked before this call.
By a guy?
Today I'm thinking I want to make around like $60K today.
Daniel, where you live? You live in America?
So real quick, Peter, pause. But what I've noticed when I've done these calls, when I ask them if their mother knows, I don't know why, but every time I do that, I get the response with how much they've made.
You bait them.
I bait them. They give it to me, and then I don't know why, but all of these guys, if I accuse them of being gay, they always start getting defensive, and then the other thing that's crucial, like if you're going to do something like this, if you're going to try to like social engineer, saying things that are wrong always gets them to explain the right answer. So with the Google thing, I don't know how they're doing the Google spoofing. I just know that you could spoof an email. I say it to him, and if he confirms it, then sure, then we have an answer. But like what happens in these calls is if you say something wrong, their response is to be like, you fucking idiot. Let me tell you how it actually happens. And then they divulge everything. So you hear me do it a couple times in the call. I just say things that are wrong, and he spills.
Yeah, it was a really interesting moment because his first attempt was to give a calm, solid answer, and then he starts to lose it, and he's done. He definitely didn't get a blowjob just before you said that.
He might have.
No, he didn't. He definitely didn't. He may never have had one.
Baby, I'm gonna start some work today. Can I get a blowjob first? You know, you never done that. You never done that, Peter? I've done your podcast before. You make all of your guests give you a blowjob before they go on air. You like the whiskey breath. You give them a little whiskey and then you...
Stop it. we can't put this out. My dad, we need old people to listen to this episode. We need my dad to listen to this. He can't be listening to stuff about blowjobs.
Do the uncensored version.
Bitcoin scammers uncensored. Right. Anyway, back in.
Out in California?
Yep.
No.
You know it.
Yeah? Where in California? San Francisco?
Yep.
You just saying yes to shit?
What's up?
You just saying yes to shit?
No, not actually. You're
Okay.
guessing.
How do I get this job? I want this job.
It's honestly not that bad. You just it's like social engineering, you know? You just kind of just call and, you know. So, like, for example, like, you have money in crypto, right?
I would never answer that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I already know that you do.
Okay.
So that's the nice part about it.
So that's an interesting thing, right? So they've obviously bought some data from somewhere or done some investigative work to figure out who you are. But more likely bought data.
I'm a marketer. I can tell you how I would construct this list. It's very easy, and it's not worth $250,000 because you could get it. But the way that I would do it is on the dark web and in a lot of forums. A lot of these hacks end up getting leaked, right? You can buy the database, and the first and most important leak is probably the Ledger hack. And all of that was available to every Bitcoin. I mean, it was on Reddit. Like it was linked. And it's every single Bitcoiner, their name, their email. I think it might have had addresses and phone numbers. It was just a huge hack. And so think about this. So like you get that hack. That's everyone in Bitcoin in, 2015, I think. It was like 1 million names, tons of names. Then the Coinbase, like let's say Coinbase gets hacked or Swan gets hacked or a data breach happens somewhere else a couple of years later. And then in 2018, another breach happens, or 2019, maybe 2021, something like that. And what you're doing is you can correlate all of these lists and see who's on multiple. And if they've been in Bitcoin since a certain, maybe the Ledger hack, and then have continued to have accounts in these places, you can basically whittle down your list. And you could sell 100,000 names of people that have been in Bitcoin for 4, 5, 6 years. Maybe have a couple of accounts on a couple of exchanges, and you can infer from that they have maybe a little bit more Bitcoin than your average person. And what's really interesting, I think, is you'll hear it later. The way that Bitcoiners think is in Bitcoin, right? So if I say to you, I have 1 Bitcoin, it's not going to be very impressive. You're going to be like, yeah, 1, okay. Ooh. But these kids, their mind thinks of Bitcoin in US dollars. They're not Bitcoiners, right? So at some point he brags to me. He's like, I have 1.2 Bitcoin on my phone. It's like $100,000. And he's right. That's what it is. It's a lot of money.
$100,000 is a lot of money.
It's 100,000, especially when you're a kid. But like to a Bitcoin, it's like 1.2. 1.2, really? Wow. Ooh. But to them, it's a lot. So when they think of whales, they're not looking for people with like 100 Bitcoin. They look at like a guy with 1 Bitcoin as a target. Think about it. I mean, like scammers go after people with like $10,000. These guys, you have 1 Bitcoin, that's $65K today. What a score! That's a great score. So I think our definition of whale, our understanding of who's targeted, particularly in Bitcoin, needs to change because it's people with 1 Bitcoin, half a Bitcoin, that are susceptible. People with 25% of a Bitcoin are susceptible to this now because 15K is a good score. 10K is a good score.
Yeah. And when you say it like that, there's going to be plenty of people with 10 to 15K in Bitcoin who maybe have never listened to a Bitcoin podcast, never read a Bitcoin article. They've just heard a bit about Bitcoin. They've opened a Coinbase account. Maybe they've seen the advert in the Super Bowl and they've bought a bit and forgotten about it. Like people like you and me are very skeptical. Anyone who phones me up, I very rarely pick up a phone call where it isn't a number I know. And if I do, someone starts asking me questions, it's like, see you later. I'm ready. I'm done. Fuck off. And so there's going to be a big pool of people who can be easily targeted who just aren't thinking with that adversarial, everyone's a scammer mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to what's his name? David? Daniel?
David. Oh, and if you notice, I also called him the wrong name. I was trying to see how committed he was to the name, and if you would change it or what. Because like to me, it was interesting that he insisted that I call. I think it was Daniel Fowler. And it was interesting that he remembered the name. It shows that he's picked an identity, he's sticking to it, and he understands, I think, the importance of like really seeming legitimate. He's trying to really portray legitimacy, and catches me when I call him Caleb. I called him a completely different name. I thought that maybe he would like just go with it, but he didn't.
Good test.
About it, like kind of like who has money in crypto, right? You ring them up, and once you hack their Gmail, you can literally just log into, because you think they're Google authenticators and stuff. You can log into Coinbase, Kraken.
Hold on. Once you have their email, you can log into their Google Authenticator.
So this has been a thing that a lot of people have talked about. Google Auth, by default, I believe, stores it to the Google Cloud. So if you don't want that to be the case, you have to turn that option off. I think it's default. So this is a big, like Jameson Lopp was talking about this. It's a big security concern, because once you do this, if you have Google Auth and it's up to it's in the cloud, then yeah, I think they can basically get into your Google Auth. If you
so I'm literally got my Google Authenticator open because the little green
cloud
is green.
Yeah, you want to turn that off. Hack Peter now. You got 10 seconds.
It just, every time I press it just says they are being saved to it.
Yeah, you don't want that. I do this with like even phones or anything else. Like if my family's on the phone plan and they go to the phone store and they try to change their phones, if they can't, I'm very complimentary to the person behind the desk. I'm like, thank you for making that so hard.
Yeah, so I'm not, and it's to say that it deletes them, so that's gone. Right. So what's interesting is I've upgraded.
How did you do that, Peter? How did you do it? You go to settings.
Oh yeah. So you click on your profile photo and you click on use without an account. So anyone doing that, because I had it before, right? When I've upgraded my phone and my Google Authenticator, it's all reset, and it was an absolute nightmare. And I had to go through every single place where I have it. I had to go through the entire process of getting new codes.
The reality, by the way,
nightmare. But the reality of that was like 2 to 3 hours, and totally worth it to not have them in the cloud.
The reality is that you should be using a password app of some sort, maybe multiple, and you should do the auth in that. That's my advice. Maybe it's bad advice, but that's what I would say you should do.
But hold on, you can't get, what do you mean, save the backup codes to a Dashlane or a OnePass?
In OnePass or in Dashlane, I believe Dashlane. I know OnePass has it. They have a QR code reader. So like, yeah, when you go in to do the two-factor auth, you can actually set it up in that account. And there's people I know that use two. They'll use Dashlane and OnePass or something like that, or they'll do Bitdefender and OnePass or something. And they'll save the two auth in one and the other one, the password in the other. It depends on how like granular you want to get. But presumably, if you separate them and there's a breach of one, then your data is secured. But like Bitcoiners are crazy when it comes to this stuff. So like that's not necessarily what everyone has to do. But if you're really wanting to be secure, there's just a lot of things that you can do that make this secure, but very inconvenient. The more security you have, the more inconvenience you're going to have. And that's a feature, not a bug. It really is.
Well, look, I have that. So I've set myself up to be as inconvenient as possible because I'm so public as a Bitcoiner. I have a big podcast. I have a football team, and I live in the UK. So if you own any company, you can find your address easily. There is no way you can get any Bitcoin if you come to my house. It's just like an impossible thing. But at the same time, somebody coming doesn't know that, right? So I was talking to Danny. I've got the conversation I want to have with James and Lopp, saying, should I just be totally public and completely explain my Bitcoin security? This is my multi-sig setup. I've got keys in multiple countries. One of them has to be released by a lawyer from a lawyer's office. The process you need to go through to get my Bitcoin, you're going to end up in jail. Like you will, because you're going to have to torture me and torture multiple people and get on planes. You've got almost like a bit like, when you go to some stores, I'm saying store because you're American, shops, it will say no cash is stored. No cash is stored on these premises.
Yeah, same thing. So no cash is stored in Peter's house.
There's no Bitcoin keys are stored on this house, right? Because you can have all the security protection in the world, but you can't protect yourself from a crazy person who'll torture you who doesn't believe you. So like, be fucking public. This is what I do. I am not taking any risk. You can have the TV, take the TV, but nothing else. There's nothing here.
Well, a lot of those security concerns are also going to like be obviated as we go along. I hate to pump it, but Anchor Watch, for example, Anchor Watch is a good example of this, though, like working on like multi-sig protection with sort of a corporate backup. There's just like Miniscript is going to change the way that a lot of this stuff worked. And if they can do scripting generally, like if OpCat or any of these Covenant type protocols are available, there's just going to be a lot of really cool things that are going to make it really difficult for someone to steal your coins. And that'll be good. That'll be really good.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to this guy. We're 3.5 minutes in. This is going to be a 20-hour interview if we were.
Let's go.
All exchanges and just send it out. Fantastic.
Yeah, but did you hire yourself then, or are you working for like a company? Do you like apply for this?
No. Solo, obviously. There's no like company for hacking.
I mean, it's a crazy job, dude. You guys call me 400 times a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell my friend to stop rerunning the same list. My bad.
Very nice of him.
I'll like remove you from it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you do it?
Honestly, dude, I mean, like, who doesn't want to drive around McLarens and shit? Like I literally just got a McLaren. Like, it's like at a young. I'm not gonna say my exact age, but I'm young. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Are you really making $100,000 a day?
No, not 100,000 a day.
How much you actually make?
Okay, I made 10K yesterday. Day before that, I made 105, which was very nice. So, like, I'm consistently, I think 10K a day, like consistently.
By the way, 10K a day is a good living.
I mean, 3.6 million a year-ish around. You know, that's pretty good.
So the most depressing part of this for me is I'm obviously making assumptions, but he sounded well educated.
Well, it sounds like he is in or wants to go to college. He's clearly getting an education, like a real one. Like his parents, he says, are middle class and that they're well adjusted and that he had a great childhood. So I assume that he's just a normal kid who goes to school and that he is not an idiot. He's not blue collar. He wasn't raised in a blue collar family. Not to say blue collar people are idiots, but like he's not in any way. It sounds like his parents are probably college educated. They're probably they probably sent him to good schools, and like he is very literate. Not just not like he can read, but like he's computer literate. He plays Minecraft. That's kind of the new Lego, and he just understands how to like navigate the web, which is more than I can say for myself. Like trying to get this podcast up was a chore.
But I also think that it feels like either like an older brother or a buddy has said, "Listen, I'm onto something. Do you want to get involved?"
Yeah, and he says that he says they all met on Minecraft, and it sounds like probably the oldest of them all started doing these phone type things, and I don't know if they started scamming, but they started doing something and it was effective. And then whenever that ended, they moved into this. And I think he says he's been doing it for 3 years toward the end. So the things that don't make sense, I don't believe he has a McLaren at all, because I don't think he could get away with having a McLaren. Parking in his parents' parking lot. Like, how'd you get that car?
Yeah.
Just bought it, Daddy.
Yeah. So I don't believe it. I think you're probably right. And I don't know if he made 105,000 a few days ago. Maybe he did.
Well, as you'll see, a lot of this stuff is like expected income. So for example, with Swan says that they found the transaction before I reported it, right? So Swan says that they'd already stopped it. I don't know if that's true, but let's presume it is, right? That means that there's probably...
Take that presumption from the point there's certain withdrawals and certain exchanges, on-ramps, off-ramps, where you hit a certain threshold, they hold it.
Almost certainly.
They question you and they get in touch. There's no world where Swan, I mean, I can't, they're a sponsor and I can't even confirm it because I don't know this detail, but my assumption that would pass some kind of threshold.
My presumption is that Swan actually did. So, but I'm going to, like, who knows? So I'm going to assume it's true. I don't try to promote companies, so I'm not going to say that Swan does everything right, but I'm also not going to denigrate them. And if they caught it, good on them. That's a win for Swan. Well done. But let's say they caught it. that means that he talks a little bit later about the $1.2 million that they have coming from Swan. That means that they weren't going to get that, right? So he was assuming it was coming. He was waiting for it to come, and it just never would have arrived. So, I don't know what his actual income is, but my guess is that 50 to 60% of the transactions that they do probably get caught. Which by the way, is why 10,000, like people with $10,000 in Bitcoin are susceptible. Because if you're withdrawing $10,000 in Bitcoin, a lot of exchanges aren't going to check on that, but they will check if it's 1.2 million.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you try and at least figure out the threshold? Withdraw 1,000, the next day withdraw 5,000, next day 10,000.
Right.
Although there's probably an email that goes out because a lot of these things do email.
But it's okay because you're in their emails.
True, but once you're locked, you might only have 2 or 3 days within that email where someone realizes, hold on, I can't get into my email, and they get it. And then you get back into your email and you see these emails that have come in. So, but I feel
what I would do, Peter, is I would do a legitimate withdrawal to his address, and then at the same time another withdrawal to mine. And so when they call him and they go, "Hey, are you withdrawing?" He goes, "Yep, withdrawing, and just waiting on the rest."
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, it might be just like, fuck it, let's try and get 1.2 million. Let's do it. Let's see what happens and see if we get away with it. But yeah. Anyway, come on, let's carry on.
Let's fuck it. So you're making $300,000 a month.
Yeah,
3.4,
but not including like let's say I get a big hit. Well, one day obviously that adds on. So like some days will be like 40, 50K.
But when you say make, you mean like you're taking that much out of someone's account and putting it into yours.
But it's all crypto though.
What's the Bitcoin, Ethereum majority? What's
depends on the type of. For example, we just hit something the other day. It was like 900K. I only got like 100K from it because so many of my friends had to help me.
900K?
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how like people just give up their seed phrases and just like, I don't know, like how are you that into crypto, right? You know how like everything works. You obviously invest massive amounts of money into it, and they still give up codes, seed phrases, all that. Like what?
So I have a question with regards to this guy. One of the things about moving crypto Bitcoin is that you can track a lot of it, right? And so my gut instinct is that he doesn't really have that much Bitcoin or crypto. I think my assumption is this is going to a central person, whoever their Mr. Big is, who is the person who's washing it, turning it into Monero, whatever they're doing, and they're just paying him out in fiat. That's my assumption, because otherwise he has to be sophisticated enough to be able to wash that Bitcoin, also sell it, withdraw it to a bank account without anyone getting suspicious and being 20 years old.
I don't know, Peter. Crypto specializes people, right? So the instant you start moving into fiat, you start taking risks. So what I'm guessing happens is that there's a bunch of addresses that they've generated, right? Or something like that. And these are the addresses that they have to withdraw to or something, right? And then I think they do get paid when that guy gets paid. And I think he says 50% or something. Yeah. Or he may be grabbing the money and the guy is, he says like, if you don't pay me X amount minimum per month, but then if I find out that you're stealing from me, you're cut off. My guess is that there's some kind of arrangement like that, but I think it stays in crypto. And I don't know where it gets mixed. It sounds like they're using a lot of phone wallets, and which is interesting. They're using a lot of phone wallets, and I think I think that they're probably generating HD wallets as a result. They don't even know what they're doing, but I think that's probably what's going on.
I wonder if he's sophisticated enough to not get busted later on down the line trying to sell it or convert it into something.
Not a chance. I think a lot of these kids are they're holding it and they say, look at how much money I have, but it's in crypto, so they're not going to be able to necessarily exchange it. Like, that's the thing. Like, if I were getting paid in a bunch of Ripple, I don't think Ripple's going to be that valuable ever. I think it's going to decline in value forever, particularly against Bitcoin. And I would love to get the fiat out of that, but I don't think that they were going to be able to. So like whatever it is that they're stealing from people, I think they'll take whatever you have. And I think that a lot of what they're going to end up with is probably these like tons of shit coins.
Yeah, maybe. But even if they've got some Bitcoin and it's Bitcoin they stole, trying to convert that into money they can spend on big things, because you're doing this because you want to buy a McLaren, Like, how do you actually do that as a 20-year-old?
I think
That's
you have to
fucking
convert
difficult.
the coins into assets. You
Yeah.
got to find someone that'll take the coins in exchange for a house, in exchange for a McLaren, in exchange for whatever. And
but even at that point, but even for a house at that point, look, in the US, you have to fill out a document if you transfer 10K. You know, I want to know what the washing operation is. That's what I want to know.
That's interesting. Maybe I'll get the next guy on the phone. I'll ask him.
All right, let's go back.
And you'd be surprised, man. There's like infinite of these people, just stupid people, like infinite.
Okay. How do you cash out? Because that seems like the hardest part. Yeah.
No, it's not hard at all. Oh, you mean to like get it to actual money?
Yeah. How do you buy a McLaren with your crypto?
Oh, well, first off, a lot of like people that I know in like real life, they'll literally accept crypto for cars. So a lot of the stuff I can simply just buy in crypto. But
are you mixing?
I also have people that I can like send them crypto and they'll just like give me cash or sell me or whatever.
Are you not mixing?
Am I not? What do you mean, like cleaning it?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I'm cleaning it. You swap over to XMR first. You hold that XMR in a new wallet for like 2 days, like a fresh wallet on a different device, and
So
then
you get the inputs.
Swap it to whatever coin after that.
So your outputs are different than your inputs.
Yeah. So it's sick. But I am curious because this is like new data, so I'm kind of curious. I'm not gonna like. I obviously can't do anything now because this is all social engineering attacks. But like I'm curious. How much do you have so I can tell my friends to see how good this data is?
I won't say.
No, like we can't hack you anymore.
His data's you can't hack me because it's social engineering, but your friend's data is good.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, dude. We got into a 1.2 mil Swan BTC the other day. It's currently on a 3-day wait, so we're waiting for that to unlock, and then we'll get a nice little. My friend called up on some old guy. In his CB, this was his first call of the day. He called up. The guy had 555K in his Coinbase, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said that he was gonna get him to vault Bitcoin, like to place it in CB vault, and he literally texted him the address and said, "Yeah, this is Coinbase vault." And the guy sent over 555K by himself. Like, what? Why would you do that?
See, this is what's depressing. Like I say, I'm guessing young, well-educated, and he's laughing about robbing an old guy of his money.
Well,
and it's this kind of reflection on the world that people just don't give a fucking him.
He doesn't think of himself as Jesse James. You know, like this is the thing. Like he's robbing the train, but you don't need guns anymore to do it, right? So you know, and by the way, this is a big issue with Bitcoin is the density, right? The density of value. You know, you have a dollar, right? Like here's a dollar bill. This is $1. It's this big. If I want $100, I have to have a stack of these, you know, this tall. If I want $1,000, I need a stack this tall. If I want 10,000, I have to have a stack, you know, beyond the size of the screen. Gold, I can carry $2,000 in, you know, this, but I want $1 million. Suddenly, it's going to be a little bit harder. Bitcoin, you can carry $1 billion in on the size of a paper, or in your head if you're smart, or on a, you know, metal seed phrase thing, right? So like density of value is very different. And what's interesting is like in some ways Bitcoin solves the problem in the Bitcoin solves this thing of the train robbery, because you don't need guns and time to move the value, right? So you can now non-violently rob somebody. You call them up, they give you their money, they basically invite you inside their house, and then they give you all the time you need and all the tools you need to rob them. And the density of value is so significant because they can just move it over wires. And Bitcoin is digital, so its density is zero. There's no space that it takes. apart from the microscopic, place where it lives on these chips. So that to me is really an interesting issue, and it changes the way that we think about it. Because think about robbery in the sense of copyright, right? Like the copyright, the bands think that you're stealing from them when you download music, right? But the reality is that we've always viewed robbing as, if I have it, if I take your chair, Peter, you no longer have the chair, and I have the chair, right? So I've robbed you of the opportunity and the value of that object. But with music, if you give me Britney Spears' album, my favorite music in the world, and you give it to me on a CD, I could put it in my CD player. We don't have CDs anymore, do we? But I can put it in my CD player, and I can listen to it, and I can have the whole neighborhood listen to it, and we can all enjoy Britney Spears' new album, and you can continue to enjoy your copy of the album without any degradation to you, apart from the time that it took for you to make me my copy. And that's with this notion of digital theft. You have this change in what theft is, and you have this change in mindset about what theft is, and theft doesn't feel like theft anymore. And it's only theft. And in the real world, like in law, there are two types. There are kind of these two types of crime. There's the crime that is crime because it's crime, right? Like we all know it's crime. Murder, it's crime because it's crime. Like it is so bad. Was it malum ad proprium or something? I don't know these Latin words for them. But then there's another type of crime, which is a crime only because the legislator has legislated the crime as a crime. And in some sense, that's kind of the difference here, is that one of them is obviously a crime because I have deprived you of something. And the other one is a crime because the legislature has said that this is analogous to crime. This is analogous to theft. Because instead of me depriving Peter of the chair, the notion is I've deprived the artist of the money, even if I never would have bought the album in the first place, except for the fact that it was given to me as a gift. So it's a different type of crime. And with Bitcoin, it feels different than robbing a train because it's digital. So it's analogous to robbing a train, but it's not the same as robbing a train. The difference is this is old school theft, right? If you have the Bitcoin, unlike all other digital artifacts, and this is what makes Bitcoin unique and actually gives it value, unlike all other digital artifacts, if I take the coins from you, you can no longer enjoy the benefit of having them yourself, and I can enjoy the benefit of having them. So it's plain old good, like old school robbery. It is bad because it's bad. You have stolen something from somebody else, but it feels like taking from you a Britney Spears album that you've copied.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. Listen, when I used to use Napster, I hadn't, and I saw Metallica complaining at the time. I was like, fuck you, you're Metallica, you're millionaires, you're going to sell loads of records anyway, yada, yada. Stop worrying about it. People to come to your shows. In time, I've kind of realized it's theft. But when you're taking an old guy's money, you have it, he no longer has it anymore, to be laughing about that and not really caring, it's quite narcissistic.
But it doesn't feel like theft.
I think it does.
To you, because you've been deprived of it.
No, but I as the outside observer, I wouldn't.
Well, what I'm saying, Peter, you have the empathy to understand this. I think young people, I think empathy is somewhat learned in part, but there's this idea if a person has, then why not me? But apart from that, I think the digital aspect dematerializes in some sense the guilt you would feel because the process is cut short. You don't have to sit near the side of the train tracks. You don't have to plan for 2 months. You don't have to make sure that the right train has the right stuff on it. You don't have to get out there and shoot the conductor. You just have to make a phone call, and then someone will give you $1 million, and it's digital dollars. It's not real. You don't have to know the person. You don't have to look them in the eye as you steal it. You just have to hear their voice, and you don't even hear the part where they're weeping because they don't know they've been had for 2-3 days. So you don't see anything that would make you feel a sense of guilt or empathy for this person. You just get a McLaren.
Still, man.
I'm with you.
All right, back in.
That's ridiculous.
Holy
My friend
shit.
got paid $500K yesterday.
So if you get it, you get it. Like if you're the one that gets the withdrawal, you get it.
Well, no, like I'm doing my friend's data, so it's like 50-50. So whatever I'll give him 50%.
So, okay, so I get it. So your friend is giving you guys the list. He gives you the program. He does the calls. And then if you guys get it, he gets 50%. You get 50%.
Yeah. But it's kind of like annoying though, like sitting here and calling. But it's fun once you start getting like on a streak. Like for example, like yesterday I had like 4 Gmails like in a row.
How many calls?
Like, you get like a little ego boost because you're just smacking them back to back to back.
How many calls a day?
It's a good question. I don't know. I like to start, like I wake up, I go drop off my girlfriend and stuff at home. And then I like to start and just pretty much call till like 7 or 8 p.m. And then I stop. Like 8 to 9 actually, EST, because that's kind of when a lot of people are off work around like 6. So it's nice around like that time.
So you're in California, so you're starting at like 6 a.m.
No, starting like 12.
Oh, like 3 hours ahead. Oh, 3 hours ahead. No, it's like
starting like 12.
Like 6 a.m. It's 3 hours behind. So you're starting at noonish in California?
Yeah.
So you're starting calling people here at 3. That's about when I start getting the calls. So that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But like, it's honestly like, I don't know. It's not that hard. It's like we don't think of it like it's real life. You know, it's almost like a video game.
Yeah, bro. You know what though? What are you? 23, 24?
No, I'm way younger. Way younger.
Dude, this is gonna land you in prison. So hard.
But that's the thing, though. Like, first of all, the punishment for this type of thing, since it's a social engineering attack, the victim is willingly giving up everything. You know what I mean? He's the one giving you the codes. He's the one doing everything. The sentences are very relaxed for this type of stuff. It's going to be like 2 years or less.
But you're going to lose all the crypto. You're going to lose your car. You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose everything.
Of course, I have everything hidden. I have multiple treasures, multiple ledgers. I have ledgers buried with like a few $100K in them. Like, it's like, no matter what, like my friend, he went to jail for 3 years he did a SIM swap for like 1.4 mil. So he went to jail and they only confiscated 300K of it. So he still is a millionaire and he's out right now and he's a millionaire.
So he's like, all right, I might go to jail. It might be a year or two, and I'm okay with that. Do you believe him when he said about his friend SIM swapping? Or,
I think that's probably true. And if it's not, well, I don't know if it's his friend. See, that's the thing is like the thing I'm wondering about is the association. Are these people friends? Are they associates? Does he know him really well? We don't know.
They might never have met. Also, it might be part of like the grooming of him into being a scammer. It's like, yeah, look, I got busted once. I went to jail. I was 3 years. I got out in a year and a half. I'm a millionaire. It was worth it. But like, oh yeah, that's fucking worth it.
Right.
You can't prove it. But the funny thing about that is like Charlie Shrem went to jail for 2 years. I spoke to Charlie about that. It's a fucking horrendous story. Like Charlie had a bad time in jail. And he's talking about it like it's easy time. That he's happy to go to jail, and he's happy when he goes to jail to like come out with a criminal record, and then thinks he's got these like devices hidden. It's a bit like Ocean's 11. One of the things I thought was really interesting about Ocean's 11 is where you see them after the robbery. You see them at the car, and they're basically saying they're being followed everywhere.
Well, where could he possibly have hid these things? Like in his own backyard? Like,
but even if he has, the minute he's going to be watched.
Yeah,
he's going to be watched.
Well, and the thing is, like, I think a lot of these guys don't realize, you know, if they get caught, the more information they give up, the better. So he tells me this. So now everyone knows that he's got a friend who this happened to, who stole 1.4 million and only had $300,000 taken from him by the police. Do you think that they don't want the rest? You don't think they want the rest of the 1.1 million? Of course they do. Yeah. So,
dude, you're facing 10 years. You give us a Bitcoin, you can get this down to 2 or 3.
Yeah, and then this other guy's got. He's like, well, who's your friend? Yeah, we'll take 6 months off. You know, like this is just a negotiation. So like the deeper the hole you dig on these things, like this criminal ring will be taken down slowly or quickly, right? All of these little rings, and these people are going to lose their money. And for me, what's beautiful is that I think most of the people whose money is stolen by a lot of these kids, a lot of them will get quite a bit of it back. Maybe not all of it, but quite a bit. Yeah.
But I think he's very naive. Look, he's naive of having this length of a conversation with you, given up as much information as he has, and there may be somebody who listens to that and go, "Oh, I know that. That's Jeff."
Well, I made one of those memes. The guy standing in the corner, like they don't even know that I'm like a super important like person in my free time. I had one of those, and it was like I had in the corner. The guy goes, "They don't even know that I'm like a super social engineer hacker who makes millions of dollars." And then the other guy's like, "Isn't that Daniel Freeman kid or whatever that was in that podcast last week?"
Yeah. my phone up.
The kid's got
hey Sarah, I think I just heard Daniel on a podcast this week. You want to check this out?
Yeah, like he's got a distinct voice. He apparently engages in normal social things. So like, you don't think someone's going to know who it is, or you're going to be playing Minecraft or whatever, and you're going to end up on a server, and all of a sudden this voice comes, like, oh my God, he's on right now. I know that voice. You don't think someone, you don't think that someone who went to your local Minecraft meetup isn't going to hear that and go like, I know exactly. That's John Johnson right there is what that is. Like it's a big problem for him.
Bro, he might even have it this week. Like, dude, they discussed that thing on what Bitcoin did.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel, if you're listening, get in touch. We'd like to interview you.
Yeah, let us know. Did you get fired?
Yeah. Does your mom know? You still got that McLaren? Get in touch, Daniel. I want to talk to you. All right, anyway, let's carry on with Daniel.
Yeah, I have friends with like genuinely $10 to $40 million.
So you guys don't
they're like 16-year-olds.
You don't care if you go to jail because you come out.
I don't care. It's that it doesn't happen. Like no one gets arrested.
But I mean, like, let's say you get arrested. You don't care because you come out a few years later. You have stuff hidden. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, but to be honest, we do everything correctly to not get arrested. Like it's almost like there's no consequences.
It's nuts. So
you clean the money, it's gone, and then you don't like buy anything with it directly.
You bought a McLaren.
Cash out through any exchange. So it's like hard to like even like track us at all. Like on my phone wallet right now. Here, let me look it up. I have on my phone Exodus. I have 107K in Bitcoin, 1.7 coins.
It could be also a situation like he doesn't have the McLaren, but what he has is in his social circle, every time they go out, he's got money. So he might have like the Supreme hoodie and the new Dunks and some nice jeans. And when they go to the bar, he's buying the drinks. Like he looks flush amongst his friends, but he has nothing else. But even that, like when I was a kid, I fucking broke. And I knew the kids who had money because their parents gave them money, and they had a cool life because they had the new jeans and the trainers and the money when we went out. Maybe he's just got that.
I was in a similar position to you. I remember we got all secondhand clothes, and I was in school when Tommy Hilfiger became a big thing. And I remember wearing this shirt that I really liked. This shirt. It was like kind of a polo type shirt. And someone at school, it had a little logo, a little lion on it. And someone goes, "Oh my God, Josh has a Tommy Hilfiger on." And it like everyone knew it because it was the first time I'd ever worn anything name brand. And I think I wore that shirt every day for like the next 6 months. It was like the only thing I ever had that was nice. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that could be true. It could be that there's an older guy in the group that he could be telling someone else's story, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what's going on in part is that he's telling someone else's story in part. I think someone else owns a McLaren. I think that he might be on his way to making a lot of money, and he's doing pretty well. And he's telling you the things he's going to do with the money that he gets in the next like 3 months. That could be what's going on.
The funny thing is, it reminds me of my first job. My first job was selling double glazing, right? After school, I used to go down to this depressing office above Kentucky Fried Chicken, and there are like 20 people in a room. You're given a phone book. You were told to do from this page to this page. You would phone these people up and you say, "Hi, it's called Alawite Alcan. I'm from Alawite Alcan. We've been delivering flyers in your area. Have you received one? They'll be like, no. Oh, well, we're double glazing. And your goal was to get an appointment. And it was a numbers game. And in a 3-hour shift where you were paid like £3 an hour, if you got one appointment, that was seen as a good shift. But you get £50 for an appointment. But it was just literally a numbers game. Me being me, tried to up the numbers game. So what I did, I spoke to the manager and said, have we got the flyers? He's like, yeah, because they never actually did. And so where I lived, I went and delivered them. And then I went in the phone book and I would just look for them in the addresses and I'd phone them up. And I think that got me to like 3 appointments a session.
Nice.
But it's a similar job, though. It was just fucking numbers game. Eventually, you got some old granny or somebody said, yeah, I'm interested in double glazing. You hit that moment in time where, like, the wife has sat with the husband the night before. They've like, yeah, we need a conservatory or we need double glazing. And you hit them at the right time.
What is double glazing?
Like windows, double paned. So windows can be 1 pane of glass or double. So with double glazing, it's like it makes the house extra warm. It retains the heat.
Man, oh man, you English people got to enter the real world and start speaking English.
Hold on. We invented the fucking language. We took letters out to help you.
We improved it.
Yeah,
and now we're taking vowels out because like America is the best. All right, next,
come on.
It's fun.
And the McLaren dealer takes Bitcoin?
No, obviously it's from private sellers. Like I have like rich people that I know that.
Oh, I see.
Like,
interesting.
Yeah, I just give them money and they'll literally privately sell me the car.
But there's a hole in that. Say he buys a McLaren off some rich person he knows and they take Bitcoin and this person doesn't know he's a scammer and then they go and try and sell it on Coinbase. They're like, yeah, this is stolen coins. And they'll be like, yeah, that was from Daniel. So I don't actually believe these bits of the story.
I agree. Like there's like that. I think he has not thought about how he's going to get that McLaren yet.
Yeah. Right. Come.
I do like legal stuff as well. Like I have like small legal side hustles, like businesses and shit that I can like funnel through, you know, and like make everything just seem like I'm like, if you were to see me in real life, I look like a regular child, just a regular normal kid. Like
I don't believe that either, by the way.
Well, he looks like a regular normal kid?
Or no. The side hustles. Like what is he selling? Like Minecraft gear? Like
I don't know. I'm not so if I put myself in his shoes and I'm living with my parents, and I'm suddenly coming home with like an off-white hoodie that's $450, and I suddenly look a little bit flush. I needed some kind of explanation.
Yeah, but you're gonna launder $3.6 million as like a 19-year-old?
No. What I mean
just the
is
parts that matter.
I don't believe he has a registered Delaware company, but I could believe that he's saying to like his parents,
I'm selling Minecraft stuff.
Yeah. I'm selling swords to potions to nerds online, or, you know, I'm trading Pokemon cards, some kind of thing to explain why he's coming home with all that stuff. Because kind of at that age, you're a little bit more fearful of your parents than the police.
Agreed.
Like with my backpack and shit, like you would never expect that this kid is stealing millions of dollars online.
You fucking live with your parents? You can't because you're a McLaren. No way.
Well, next year I'm thinking about getting a penthouse, so I'm excited for that. But that's when school starts back up, because now it's summer. So this summer my goal is 1 to 2 mil. That's my goal this summer.
How many of your friends do this?
We have our small group where like all like I'm not personally a millionaire. I have like high 6 figures.
5-6 figures is a loose thing to say, because the difference between 5-6 figures is a lot of fucking money. Yeah. And also he avoided the McLaren question. You live with your parents, but you got a McLaren?
Like I think the answer is yes, I live with my parents. That was my presumption.
And I think he's early in this. I think he's been groomed into doing this with the potential down the line. And he's probably had a few hits of 5, 10K. That's what I think it is. But anyway.
Like most of my friends have like around like 10 or something. They're like all like millionaires. And we all just do fun shit. Like for example, like 2 weeks ago, we went to a club in LA, dropped like 130K on bottles. just like stupid shit.
Wow.
That's the kind of thing I can believe he's doing.
Well, I think what he did is this group, like he says he's in San Fran, and the reason I kind of might think that that's true is because he seems to remember that he said he was in San Fran, although I don't think he does. So I think he's specifying that they went to LA, which seems like a special trip. And later on, he talks about going to Rodeo Drive and spending a bunch of money at the Louis Vuitton store. So like, it seems like it's a special trip to go to LA, and I think they did. I think they went to LA, and I think that's kind of neat. Like I think he gives a very specific time period.
Yeah, and you can see them wanting, because you do it. You go to these fucking bars and you see a bunch of douchebag kids who are like 20 years old, 21 years old, and you look at them and you're like thinking, how are you spending this much money? How have you got this much money?
Well, what's funny is if it's true, someone remembers, because I'll bet it was weird.
My friend, this is interesting to me. I'm older. So your generation has a contingent of people that are literally, I imagine your friend is a programmer. Y'all are getting lists. I don't know where you get them, probably from the dark web. And you're making calls, running your own script, and social engineering to get people to give you their shit.
Yeah. I have like a developer. We just pay him, I think, like $1,000, and he sets up the bot for us. And it just like auto calls for active. Like for active, because cold calling is so annoying. You have to sit there, no one picks up. It's like you sit there for hours, you're not getting any pickups. It's like insane. And then, but with this active, it's so much better, because when they press 1, you kind of know that they're a retard. So you just call them up and they fall for it.
Oh, you're qualifying. Yeah, I will say this is the cleverest one I've ever received. These calls asking for me to tell you whether I'm hacked or not.
Dude, we are the best of the best. There's a lot of people that do what we do, but they don't do it to the extent that we do it.
You know, your qualified leads. Okay, so like, let's say you get 10 people to hit one. How many of them give you money?
Majority.
Fuck.
Majority, definitely. Because sometimes, a lot of the times, right, we'll let that hack a Gmail. Sometimes they just don't have their Google Authenticator synced, so we can't log into any exchanges.
Reminder, if you're listening right now and you use a Google Authenticator, open it right now, click on your profile picture, and click on use without account. Get the fuck out of having that shit stored on Google.
Well, go through their Google Photos, look for seeds. Like, for example, yesterday, I hacked a Gmail, and I went through his Google Photos. I found his ledger seed. I just simply sent out. It was like $30K in XRP.
So, again, sometimes I think he's lying. He said yesterday, right? But that he said he'd made 10 grand, and then the other day he made 105K. Like, I feel like he embellishes the story at times. But anyway,
I think he's changing times and such. Yeah, he's time shifting.
You got to hold that, because that's hard. It's hard to get rid of XRP off exchange. I guess you give him to gold bugs.
Yeah, I mean, it was taken directly out of his ledger.
So you just have a ledger there that you're using to load up if you find a seed phrase.
You don't even need a ledger to load up a seed phrase.
I suppose that's true. You're using Sparrow.
You know what Trust Wallet is?
Yeah.
You know what Trust Wallet is?
Oh, yeah.
Trust Wallet, Exodus, all those things you can just recover a seed phrase with. So I'll just paste it in there, click recover, bam, all the crypto just pops up, just send out.
Interesting. So when
it's really fun, honestly. It's like the best job. I agree, though, it is fucked up. You're kind of like
it's super fucked up, man.
Unsuspecting people into taking their money, but like, I don't know. Like, if you can give up your seed phrase to someone over the phone like that, you don't deserve it. Like, come on, bro. Like, what?
You come from a rich family or a poor family?
Middle.
So like middle class kid.
Yeah, I grew up great. I didn't have a bad childhood. I love my childhood. I always got shit.
And yet,
like, my first car was a Dodge Scatback that my parents bought for me.
My first car,
and then
was a Plymouth Horizon with no heat or no air conditioning.
Really?
Yeah.
And then like I just like ever since I was little, like I've always wanted like Ferraris and all that nice stuff, and now I can get it. You know what I mean? Now it's like I have so much fun. It's kind of like I have no stress at all. It's like ultimate freedom.
Do you think this is a cultural issue that we didn't grow up with? Like, I'm, in my 40s. I grew up with no internet until I was about 14, but the internet was sucked until I was like really early 20s, right? And so, but we've now in an era where kids all day, every day, they're TikToking, Instagramming, internet in, and they're seeing their Travis Scott's and Kendrick Lamar's, and they're seeing cars and clothes and outfits. They're seeing other young kids who are TikToks. Like, do you think the aspiration now is so high to have that stuff culturally, but without the desire, without the proof of work, because for me, I always wanted to do well, but I worked my nuts off, right? I never fucking scammed people or stole from people. But the aspiration now is there, but without the work.
Well, I think that this generation is divorced from what we went through. Like we're a bubble generation of sorts. You remember the phone on the walls. You remember like calling your neighbor, or memorizing phone numbers.
I remember turning up on time for things, because if you didn't,
you remember. So nowadays, exactly, like if I have a scheduled meeting, the person will call me 8 times before to make sure that we're doing the meeting. Yeah. And if you don't answer those calls, they will cancel the meeting. They'll just be like, "Oh, I guess it's not coming." Whereas, like when I was younger, it'd be like, "We're all going to meet at the community center at 3 p.m. tomorrow," and then you would.
And you're like, "It's 3:10. It's like, where's Steve?
Where's Steve? Like, you can't call him. You got to sit there and wait. Like, Steve's making us wait. What an asshole! Well, we're going to stay around for 20 more minutes, and if he's not, so.
But if you go to like a bar and someone texts you, it's like, "Dude, sorry, I'm running 20 minutes late." You're like, "Cool." You just like sit on your phone. You play with it because you got something to do while you wait.
Yeah, and that's but yeah, it's a different era. I remember the first time I saw a Lamborghini. I didn't know what a Lamborghini was until 5th grade, and someone brought a magazine, and they had a picture of it. And she's like, "Yeah," she was like, "We had where I was. There was a reservation, and the Indian kids got paid from the casino, and they made a ton of money. So they had aspirations of like having nice cars, and so they knew what they were, right? So they had magazines." And I remember she opened this page, and there was a mint green Lamborghini on it. And I'd never seen a car like that. I'd never seen a car like that at all. Never seen, in 5th grade, I'd never seen a nice car and seen Toyotas and, whatever the people around me had.
Was it a Countach?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be a Countach.
It's in the 90s.
Somehow Lamborghini gets away with mint green, and it looks cool.
It looked really cool. And
if
that
you turn up in a mint green truck or a mint green Toyota, people are like, "What the fuck have you done?"
And I remember I looked at that car and I said to myself, someday I'm going to own a mint green Lamborghini. And it's interesting because that was the first time I ever saw that. And I didn't see a Lamborghini probably again for 5, 10, 15 years. So information accessibility is completely different now. And you're right. Like you're on Instagram, you see these guys with Lamborghinis or on private planes, stuff like that. I flew twice when I was a kid. It was too expensive. So yeah, we're a bubble generation. We didn't know what this stuff even looked like or that it was available to us. I couldn't have told you what it cost. I couldn't have told you that a Lamborghini was $100-some thousand or $200,000. Couldn't have done that. And if I told you, I wouldn't have known what that number meant. I remember my mom came home one day when I was younger, and she said that she just got done with the grocery shopping and that it was $130 or something like that. And I remember looking at her and going, "We have $130." Like, really? We do? Money was it was something that I didn't understand. And so, yeah, I think it is something going on generationally. I think that they have a lot of access to information about what is nice and what is not nice, and they're young. And I think so they can achieve their aspirations early, find out how stupid their aspirations were, and how maybe they're not as fulfilling as they thought they were. And and who knows? But like, yeah, I think that's exactly right.
All right, come on, Daniel.
Like, if I go to the store, like, we went to Rodeo Drive, me and a few friends. My friend bought a $40,000 Louis Vuitton jacket for no reason, just for fun. He doesn't even wear it.
How many of those do you think get?
Like $200K at Rodeo Drive.
His OPSEC isn't great. How many of those do you think that Louis Vuitton sells in a year?
Yeah, probably not many.
Probably 10, maybe 10 of those at most, one a month. So like, I
could see you in a $40K Louis Vuitton jacket.
I don't think we looked at Louis Vuitton. There's only one jacket in that price range. And so like, I was like, it's not going to take someone very much to go look at Louis Vuitton and be like, okay, 40K. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we got 10 sales. One's to a guy named Ben Affleck. One's to, Christina Aguilera, like, whatever. This
Leonardo
guy.
DiCaprio.
Oh, look, Bill Gates bought one. Okay. Oh, and then who the fuck is this?
Who's Daniel?
Like,
that was that kid that came in with those other
17-year-old.
Yeah.
We have the camera. We thought it was so weird. We kept the camera footage. Like this is a weird. It's a weird thing because I'll bet you that the OPSEC isn't great. I doubt that he understands that OPSEC isn't great.
I wonder if there's a tool to get an AI tool to get that jacket that goes out and scans Twitter and Instagram.
He just finds a kid with it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There probably is.
Yeah.
I'll bet the FBI has it.
Yeah, he's fucking in a McLaren.
And when is enough for you? When are you done?
That's okay. So I hit something very, very big a few months ago. I'm not going to say the amount, but that was going to be my out. I was going to do that, and I was done. I was going to live my life. I was just going to invest. I was going to do stocks as well as trade because I know how to day trade, and I enjoy it. It's really fun. And I really enjoy finance. So that was kind of my goal, just live off that money and turn into more money. But unfortunately, my cut was snaked by my partner. He stole my cut and deleted his account and disappeared forever. So, but I would say my out is $4 million. I would say that's a valid amount.
So you have a partner in this, or you did? So you get $4 million. So let's say you get $2 million this summer. What, next $2 million next summer, and then you're done?
Yeah. Well, honestly, if I make $2 million this summer, then I would hope by the end of the year that I have $5 million, because I'm still gonna work during school time. So I'll just do it when I get back from school.
No college?
In the future. I am gonna go.
It's so interesting, man.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a dumb kid. I've always had all A's my whole life. I'm in all honors classes. I'm in all advanced placement classes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So either way, I think even with or without this shit, I think that I will succeed in life no matter what. This is just kind of giving me a head start. I just have automatic ton of money to start off with, and then boom, I can create my own business. I can funnel it into trading and so on, and just growing from there.
So why do you guys pick names? And why are they you're the first one to call me who doesn't have a two Bible names?
Well, people pick their own names. When I call Coinbase's, I'm Eddie from Coinbase Consumer Ads Protection Line.
Okay.
But when I do Google's, I'm Daniel from Google's customer care line. Just because when we send out emails, because I can directly send emails from Google with case IDs and everything.
Yeah, you're using Java. You're spoofing headers.
It's not even spoofing. It's using Google Forms.
Oh, okay. You should just.
But
it's interesting.
It's actually really simple, but a lot of people just don't know how to do it. But in that email, it's I have a pre-custom template and it says Daniel on it, so I just use that name.
Interesting. Do you have to buy the program from your friend?
Which one?
The one that gives you the one that gives you the lists.
Oh, the one that gives me the list?
Yeah.
The list? No, because we're just 50-50ing them. Just splitting 50-50. We'll get a bunch of good data from a lot of rich investors, blah, blah, so on. And then just run the bot to get active and then rank them up.
Where's this fucking source of leads? That's crazy. Is he not buying from the dark web?
No. Dark web doesn't have anything. That's not really, honestly, some actual Chinese and Russian hackers, genuine hackers that because we don't know how to actually hack. We just know how to social engineer and shit. And sim swap.
You guys are good at it.
Yeah, thank you. But we actually have hackers that we know that we purchase off. So for example, for a really, really good database, we'll pay 100 to 200K for it, and then that'll give us 800K plus. You know what I mean?
And you'll pay
it'll pay more.
You'll pay Russians in crypto.
Yep. and they'll send us it.
Do they only accept Bitcoin?
They only accept crypto. It's not just Bitcoin, some whatever ETH.
So they'll take whatever you got.
Yeah, pretty much.
The interesting thing is the way he talks about how they do it. He talks very confidently, like it's just happening, right? But his whole tone of voice changes when he talks about the life they're living and makes it less believable. It's like he's making up as he goes along. But I actually, like when you talk about spoofing, what does he say? He uses Google Forum? Google Forum. And the way there's a completely different tone of voice to him.
That's true. I think one is aspirational in some ways, right? The how they're living. But the other thing is a lot of the stories he's telling are stories that about other people, right? So he didn't buy the jacket. He didn't buy the bottles at the bar. Someone else was doing that. So I think that's part of it. The other thing is like, what I found interesting about this is that there is a circular economy going on in the criminal world. They're willing to take crypto or Bitcoin or whatever, and there's a full on sort of hidden economy from the rest of us that none of us participate in, and the money stays in Bitcoin, and that's really interesting to me.
All right,
it's crazy.
But like, I have my friend who has like $40 million. He's a regular kid. He posts on Instagram like a regular kid, just him outside and shit. You know what I mean? Like, you'd never know that this kid has like almost 9 figures.
How long before he spends it though? How many years is he waiting?
He's been spending it, but he's spending it smartly. He's not very public. He doesn't post anything. He doesn't like care about the attention. He just likes having fun.
Okay, so just like clubs.
Yeah, like no one knows. Yeah.
His parents don't know.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if his parents know or not. If I were to have to say, I would say they probably do know. I mean, like their son is driving around like Ferraris and shit at 16. So, and he's not coming from a rich family. So,
could it be these people are like? I still feel like he's being groomed online to do this, right? A 16-year-old will have a problem getting insured on a Ferrari. That's a problem.
Do you think they can be very expensive? But yeah, like.
But do you think it's like other people convincing themselves, "Hey, yeah, I'm 16. I do this. Yeah, I'm your age. Yada yada. I got 40 mil. I think, do this."
Yeah, if you have a lot of money, you can get insured on a Ferrari. Like you can. Anyone can. It'd just be very expensive. Like that's the thing. You're not on your parents' insurance plan if you're putting a Ferrari on it.
No.
Could you imagine, like, Mom, Dad, I have a Ferrari. Put it on the insurance. Like, it's not happening. So, I don't know, but they're kind of, dude, whatever the case is, this is a movie, right? It's like, someone should buy this, like, the life rights to this shit. Like, it's the young kids who are not from, like, rich families driving around in these cars thinking they're hot shit. And it just sounds to me like they're geeky. They probably go out. They still get ignored by women. And they really are the literal meme. Like, they don't even know. They don't know.
Yeah.
Did your friend approach you? Or did you figure it out what he was doing?
I'm not going to lie. We all met playing Minecraft when we were like 10 years old. And we all just grew from there, like together.
By the way, that is my favorite bit of the whole interview. We met on Minecraft at 10 years old.
And then you're playing a game and you're squeakers.
Yeah, we're just playing a game,
and then
and then we need someone. We need someone that like knows how to make money, like hacking and stuff. And then he starts like using us for call slaving. So he'll be like, "I'll give you this much, and all you have to do is sit here and call people and say the script and do it."
So he's like the mastermind. You guys are. He's the one that figured out the phone stuff.
And then we're making like pennies and shit. So we're doing this for some random person, and then as we do it, we get better and better, and we start realizing, okay, this is actually how you do shit. Then we abandon him, and we just start growing on our own and getting better and better.
And the one who disappeared?
The one from before, I don't know. We don't talk to him. He was just like a majority of the people that do what we do have around like 10 to 50K. because they struggle getting good targets, getting good data. Because like getting good databases, like the one I'm calling you on now, that's very difficult, and no one has like these type of data. A lot of people just have garbage data, like public data, like people because they don't have enough money to pay for the good data.
A good database is like 200K.
Yeah, so they just run like garbage databases and make like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. You know what I mean? Like small amounts here and there. But what we go after whales, like 500K plus.
Nice.
And they're very doable. It's honestly not that difficult.
Of the people that hit one, is it mostly old people?
No.
Really?
Honestly, no. I get so many. The guy with 30K seat yesterday, he was 30. He was like 35.
Oh, poor guy.
I know. But like, how are you like, I don't know. It's because like the way, because we know how to speak to people. We know what like drives human psychology, greed and fear. You know what I mean? So either like convince the target they're going to get something good, or that something bad's going to happen if they don't comply. You know what I mean?
Look, I've talked to 3 of you so far. You guys are phenomenally good. I can't even tell you. Like, I know what it is. So I just like to go as far as I can down the rabbit hole. But you guys are phenomenally good at that.
Yeah, like
it's weird given your age.
Do it like all day, every day. It's just like great. You just make a ton of money, and then we have fun at nighttime. We'll go out. We'll go do some fun shit, drive around cool cars, like renting a massive mansion, Airbnb, right? And just have fun.
You hang out together? So you actually know each other in person now?
Oh, yeah. We've all like been known each other since we were like literal children.
I just thought you met online.
None of us.
But you guys actually do live near each other and stuff.
Well, yeah, we all moved to like LA area because we started making so much fucking money and we want to have fun, and LA is the nice.
It strikes me like what's really interesting to me is these kids have developed what looks and feels a lot like a corporate culture. It's a company.
Yeah.
And they don't know it. They don't know that they're employed in a racket, right? Like I don't know who's going to do it, but like this is like a RICO case, like wrapped up in a bow. It's a corporation.
Yeah. There's clearly a leader amongst them as well. Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of have you read Freakonomics? Yeah, when it talks about the drug dealers and the layers, it feels like they're kind of working their way up the layers.
Why does the drug dealers work for their lawyer? They get a bunch of money, they aggregate it, and then they get arrested, and then they pay the lawyer their money.
Yeah, fair. Lawyers need drug dealers.
But if you live obviously in a penthouse above everyone else, it's fun. Like my friend was paying $20K a month for his penthouse. It was beautiful. It was so nice.
So you want to do that next year?
It genuinely feels like you're playing a video game. It's like Grand Theft Auto 5. Like you just have unlimited money.
Right. I get it. It's a ratio, right? Calls you get to amount of money you get.
Mm-hmm. Like if you decide to sit down and grind every day, all day, you'll make money, like guaranteed, if you're good at what you do.
I have a sick admiration for what you're doing, despite finding it disgusting.
No, I'm not going to lie. Like recently, because I started this when I was younger. So like, kind of like I had no morals to like guide me with this. You know what I mean? Like this was just like fun and easy, so on. But like now, the more that I think about it, like last night I was thinking about it watching a movie. Like,
and I really thought I'd lost him at this point. This is how all the other calls ended.
Did I lose you?
What ransomware is?
Yeah, I know what ransomware is.
Look, I have other friends who do ransomware, and that shit is very federal, though. Like, if you do ransomware, majority of them go to prison, because that's, like, actually, like, extorting a company to give you money. Like, they will track you down and find you. But with this, it's all consumers. It's individual people. You're hacking individuals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, like, not as... Like, majority of the time, it goes unreported.
Even for big amounts?
I mean, for big amounts, they report it, but what are they going to do?
Is this a little bit like the people now run into Louis Vuitton stores and steal handbags? They know there's no real penalty.
Well, I think also people don't know who to call. Like, do you call your local police? Do you call the FBI? Does the FBI answer the phone and listen? When they do, like, what are they going to do? They don't have a lead.
They care if it's FTX. Or
right. But they don't have a lead, right? So, like, what are they going to do? Like, so you got some crypto still. How much? $1 million. Okay. Like, how did that go? Oh, so someone called you and then you, you sent them the
but even worse, it's like 15,000. It's like we've got fucking rapes and murders we're dealing with here.
All right, I guess we'll write this down, but we don't have any leads. So, that's the thing is a lot of this stuff. Like, I hope this interview does something important, and that I hope that it raises awareness. But I would love for it to be able to bring a ring like this down. I hope that it helps in that because those people should get their money back.
Yeah, but I also hope the ring listens to this and they have some kind of guilty conscience and think, holy shit, I'm being a fucking scumbag here.
Well, I don't think they understand mens rea either. Like when you are doing this with full knowledge that you're just doing it because the other alternative scam would land you in prison longer, you're going to end up with a lot of problems when you get prosecuted. Because think of that, showing a judge how much remorse you have, telling the judge that you're only able to recover 80% of what they have, something like that. That's going to be bad.
They're going to be like, okay, so what happened? Oh, I gave up my seed phrase to this guy who called me. And then they're just going to laugh in your face. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Wow. So don't do crypto lockers.
What do you mean? What's a crypto locker?
The ransomware. Don't do ransomware unless you're Russian.
No.
And you're off U.S. soil, but do social engineering if you're on U.S. soil.
100%. Social engineering is great. Also, I would say don't keep money in any exchanges. Keep your money in your Trezor or
Good advice.
And don't give that shit out to anyone.
No one.
No matter what they say.
Hide seed phrases in the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hide your seed phrases.
Man, oh man.
But I wouldn't keep money in Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, anything. Because that's like, you can easily hack that shit.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Daniel, fake name. I guess you know my real name. It's been a weird pleasure.
Yeah, it was a fun talk.
Don't know what to tell you. You should stop doing this. It's gonna get you caught.
I agree. I'm gonna hit my goal and then I'm just gonna chill and build a business. Probably. I'm gonna probably do like financial consulting or something after this.
You'll be very good at getting clients.
Yeah, I know how to speak to people. That's all I do all day, every day.
It's a lot of
new people on the phone.
How are you gonna explain that for your first job? I used to do social engineering attacks.
Isn't that interesting? He wants to go from stealing money to helping people build it.
Well, it's like from black hat hacker to white hat hacker.
Well, but usually the white hats are like, I was formerly a black hat. Could you imagine your banker or your financial advisor going like, I used to steal people's money for a living, but now I'm helping you build it. That's why I'm here.
Well, isn't that the people who used to work for the government who now go and work for crypto companies?
That seems like that, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot, especially when you have days, because there's days where there's like droughts, where like I call for 7 hours a day for like 3 days straight and make $0 because everyone just wants me to fuck off when I get on the phone.
Huh.
But I always know when there's a storm, there's always a rainbow at the end. So I just keep it pushing. I remember I was telling my girlfriend that the other day because I went like 3 days without making any money, or I made like $3K, but that's like nothing to us. You know what I mean?
Does she know what you do?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
$12,000 a month. Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. God, fucking $3K.
Which is a very big liability.
That's a liability.
But I told her when I was younger. So.
Oh, so you've been dating her a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like right after that, we hit the whatever. It was 13 Bitcoin. The Trezor seed.
Oh, that's wow.
I wish I got paid more, though. Unfortunately, I had to give my friend a larger cut because my friend wasn't home, so I'd have someone else call him because I already hacked his Gmail. So I only got, like, literally 5 different people. We all set it up. So I called him for the Gmail. Then my friend called him for the Kraken, hacked his Kraken, took like $2K from his Kraken, and told him that it's just placed on a 48-hour lock, blah, blah. He's going to receive the money in 48 hours. Then my other friend called him from Swan, BTC. He has $0 in his Swan, but then we tried getting his ledger or his treasure seed, and he was like, I'm never giving that up, blah, blah. And then we just kept pressing him to figure out how much he has in there, and told him it was related to tax information. That's why he had to tell us, because he needed to send in his public key so we can do it for taxes and Kraken. And he sent his public key for Bitcoin to see all his transactions, how much he has, and we're like, oh shit, he's loaded. Next day, got my other friend a call from Treasure, and we cashed out.
You called him as if you were from Treasure?
Yeah, literally called him as Treasure support. And we had like a fake website that obviously was identical to Treasure, and he went on there and put his feed on there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Shit's ridiculous.
It sounds easy, man. That sounds very, very easy.
It's once you know everything you're doing, it is very easy. Once you like understand everything.
Fucking A. How old are you? 16?
Can't say that, but I am a minor.
Well, okay. When did you start doing this?
Like 13? So for what, and most of these kids that do what I do all come from Minecraft. I swear to God, there's so much Minecraft kids that like just do this shit. I don't know why. Like my friend, I have a friend. He's 13 years old. I'm not really friends with him. He's a business partner, but he's 13, and he has around 8 mil right now. His parents don't know. He has $8 million, and he spent around $400,000 on rare Minecraft names. So he has like Coinbase, the name Coinbase on Minecraft. He has like every single rare name. Spent 400 grand on that shit.
And he did this?
What?
He did this?
Yeah. Literally, like he was like smacking like 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, and he was just stacking it up. And it's like it's almost like it's not real money. You know what I mean? He got it so easily. It's like it's not even real. He just spends it and then gets more. That's the next
Jesus.
day. Another drink day.
Jesus. All right. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna get back to calling.
Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is, I mean, it's just fucking wild. Like for him, he's been unlucky is that he's hit you and he doesn't know who you are and that you're recording him and that you have a history of podcasting and you're a known name in Bitcoin. I wonder if he knows this was out there.
I don't know. They're not Bitcoiners, so I don't know. No matter how many people see it, like it's still pretty much a Bitcoin only thing that we've all heard it. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I someone said that they mentioned it to him when he called them like the next day for scamming. So like maybe he knows through that. But it's interesting because like I think this, it shows sort of how segmented society is. Bitcoiners are Bitcoiners and scammers are scammers. These guys are Minecraft guys. If it may hit the Minecraft community, that would be very interesting. But yeah, this is it's a very sequestered group that we're in, and that's interesting.
I mean, look, something important came out of it. I didn't realize I was backing up my authenticator to the cloud. I still think if you had it, what could you have got access to of mine?
Anything that can be reset through email. Think about it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anywhere at all.
But you're the unusual case, Peter. Like what about your Coinbase, right? Is your Coinbase connected to your bank?
No.
Gemini? Like everyone's got some vulnerabilities there. Some people put key phrases right in Google, thinking that'll never be found. What about Google Drive? People store stuff in Google Drive.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of ways, and you might be one of the lucky few who it wouldn't have mattered for. But most people have some connection in Gmail, and I just to say it to people, like, look, the way Bitcoin works is that your Bitcoin is on a long number. That long number is so long, and it doesn't look like a number to you because there's letters and numbers in it, but it is a number. It degrades to a number, right? It's, what is it, in hex? It's a long number. That number is so long that the idea is that number has never been guessed by another person or computer in the history of humanity, and will never be guessed ever by any person or computer in the history of humanity, right? It takes so much energy to re-happen up on that number that will never be guessed. That's the idea of Bitcoin. That's the idea of cryptography, very simply. Your bank and your Google Mail, your Gmail, and any email you have is secured by the exact same tech. SHA-256 is usually what's used for like password stuff, right? So if you have a really long password that is created with a lot of randomness, it is as secure as your Bitcoin, unless you give it to somebody or someone steals the password from like a database, right? So when someone calls you, if you are secure, if you have a long password in your Gmail, if you have a long password on everything and choose different passwords and different emails, you can do this pretty easily. Use something like simple login for different emails. Use something like 1Password or LastPass to generate long passwords. If you do this, when someone calls you and says that they have accessed your accounts, you can feel as certain about them not having done that as you can about your Bitcoin. And something like 1Password works really well because they actually monitor like hacks. So if a password is compromised, you'll know very quickly that you need to go and change the password on that website. You can go take a look at those things. So like there's a lot of really simple ways that you can become very secure. And these are two real simple ones. When it comes to bank logins, I would recommend that you don't use your username as a password as well as your password. So don't log in with Peter McCormick at Revent or whatever. What's your bank.com? Revolut.com. Use like a long username and a long password. That's, you're kind of double secure. And if they steal the, and have that stored in like a 1Password type system, these are real simple things you can do to make sure that nobody can access your stuff. That's like the simplest is just have strong passwords.
And Daniel or Eddie from Coinbase, if you're listening, get in touch. It's hello@whatbitcoindid.com. We want to talk to you. You're out there already, bro. We want to talk to you again. We want to come to LA and come to a bar with you and drink bottles.
Yeah, I want to write the book though.
Yeah, I want to option the film.
Yeah, I'll meet you, Dan. If we're doing this, if Peter's there, I'll come out. We'll talk. We'll meet face to face. I'll let you wear a mask. You don't have to show me yourself.
Bro, this is fucking wild. It's fucking wild. I don't know what to say, man. It's one of these ones I just need to go and think about for a moment because the hacking stuff is useful for the Bitcoin people to listen to understand. I bet a number of people will listen to this and will have changed their Google Authenticator settings afterwards.
I'm sure. And that'll be funny because just that alone might prevent a lot of people from falling victim to the hack.
But I'm much more intrigued by him and why.
Wouldn't it be fun? It really would be fun to meet him for that reason. Like it's an interesting thing because like he's young, he's making these decisions. They're bad decisions. He knows they're bad decisions, but he's willing to sacrifice the badness of the decision for the outcome. And he hopes that outcome pays quickly and that he never gets caught for doing it. It's an interesting mentality.
But I wanted to be honest, just say, look, cut the bullshit. Tell us which bits are true and which are not true. Be honest.
Right.
All right, man. Well, this was fun and interesting. And yeah, thank you.
No problem. I'm glad to do it. It's a fun little thing to like do these things. And this one's an interesting one because it's a lot of just listening to something else. But I hope that this recording helps. And SoundCloud taking it off, fine. We'll put it on the biggest podcast in Bitcoin, and they can, it can go out that way.
Yeah, fuck you, SoundCloud. Junseth, I love you, man. Appreciate this.
Next time I'll come on, I'll be shaved.
No, don't be, man.
I like to change the facial hair every time I come on.
You look a little bit like MVK at the moment.
I look old. It's funny. Like the white once you get one white hair, it just comes in.
Oh, dude, it sucks, right?
I love it.
No, I don't because on certain photos it looks like I've got a handlebar mustache.
Yeah, but your problem is that you're ugly. Whereas like for me, it's kind of like I'm more debonair. You know what I mean?
Dude, With an accent like mine, you don't have to be beautiful.
I've heard that. With an accent like mine, you do.
Yeah. But you can sing.
That's true, yeah.
Righty. Listen, I will see you soon, my man. Peace out.
Peace out. See y'all.